Clip in everyone, we've got a lot to get through this week. This is the last episode of Season 4 and we've got some big changes to the channel coming in the next few weeks. Over the last 3 years we've published over 80 videos telling the world about our reasonably priced catamaran and how living the dream doesn't need to cost the earth. Well, now I think we've come up with an even better solution. We've been calling it Project X and we'll be announcing details of it very soon, so make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on and don't miss this exciting opportunity to get sailing sooner. Many of you know about the data crash we went through. Well, last week's video, without any video, did pretty well with over 40,000 views. Maybe it had something to do with this thumbnail. This week we're in the same boat, so to speak. There were just so many interesting lessons we learned on the voyage to Guatemala that we will retell them using the clips we managed to save. So enjoy everyone, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Customs officers in Cuba were as friendly as any we've met. The office girls wore tight, short skirts and fishnet stockings. Welcome to Cuba. They sealed our drone, sat phone and handheld GPS, but let us retain them until departure when the seals would be checked. The harbour master changed our currency at a rate that was not bank rates, but was still fair. Everyone needs to skim something to survive in Cuba. We were asked if we wanted our passports stamped. Yes, it's optional, in deference to US visitors. The day we arrived at the Hemingway Marina, the annual fishing tournament ended. Hemingway was a keen marlin fisherman as well as a writer. He wrote The Old Man and the Sea right here in Cuba after being inspired by scenes of marlin fishing from open boats that are unchanged to this day. In that story he penned the words, "Every day above Earth is a good day." And so we seized this day and headed to the yacht club, the Hemingway Yacht Club.
Let's go check out the Hemingway Yacht Club.
We learned that all the photos circulating showing Castro with Hemingway were taken on a single day. It's more likely that the two had very little to do with each other. Seeing Castro with Che Guevara roused our interest to learn more about the revolution while here, so we looked for a car to take us to the old city.
Wow, look at this. Looks like my size of car. Even matched my dress.
We couldn't pass up a chance to ride in one of Havana's famous taxis and jumped in a classic 1953 Buick for the 20-minute ride to town. We had a drink at El Floridita, another of Hemingway's hangouts. And wandered around Old Havana looking for a B&B to have some shore time. We found the Osteria, a block from the centre, and booked a week at just $40 a night, including breakfast. From here we organised a driver to tour the city and surrounds, this time in a convertible Chevy Bel Air. During the tour we chanced on a Santeria voodoo ritual in the Almendares River, complete with chicken sacrifice. If Havana is one thing, it's eclectic. The Musée de la Révolution was close to our B&B and we walked there the following day. Complete with bullet holes in the walls marking an attack by students on the presidential palace, we were in for an eye-opening tour and a chance to look at the revolution from the Cuban perspective. Our feelings at the end of the tour are best summarised in the phrase, "Power corrupts," and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Whether it's a CIA-backed Batista dictatorship or a communist family of elites, both systems result in haves and have-nots until the cycle turns and revolution becomes inevitable. New friend Marina, who we met on her yacht at the marina, booked us for dinner and the show at the Buena Vista Social Club. The music and energy is captivating, a mixture of joy for life, sorrow and resilience. This night is not to be missed, and the Cuban people won our hearts. We were told that everything is available in Cuba if you are the right people. So we felt privileged stocking the boat for the next leg of the journey at the marina store. It was a stark contrast to the local supermarkets. We planned to do the 640-mile passage down to the Rio Dulce non-stop. We'd be battling the Gulf Stream head-on along the North Cuban coast and into the Straits of the Yucatan, where it has been known to stop yachts in their tracks. We were keen to try out a strategy we'd been told to avoid it, but we still took on extra fuel in case it didn't work. Sailing along the north coast, we encountered 2 Cuban fishing boats. The fishermen proudly raised the heads of their marlin to show off their catch as we sailed by. It was a classic scene from The Old Man and the Sea. About halfway along the coast, we encountered the Gulf Stream and moved right into shore to try to find the countercurrent. We hugged the reef edge all night. By afternoon the second day, we were off Cabo San Antonio and ready to enter the Straits. There were menacing looking thunderstorms ahead, and we picked a path between the squalls. Suddenly the reel came to life, and after an epic battle, Zaya landed this beautiful mahi, her best fish yet. As soon as the fish was dispatched, the squalls closed in and put on a spectacular lightning show. We maintained a course heading due south until halfway down the Yucatan Peninsula. We had been told this strategy can avoid the worst of the Yucatan current, and it worked spectacularly. In fact, we had a 1/2 to 1 knot countercurrent assisting us. We made our turn for the Rio Dulce as I watched the effects of wind shear on our instruments, each gust from higher level air tending to back the wind. The final legs were sailed without incident, and we were elated to cross the bar after just 4.5 days. We watched a keelboat enter behind us. They had arranged a local launch to heel her over and reduce her draft. We engaged Raoul from Maritime Server Mar to handle our clearance formalities. You need Raoul to navigate the red tape. He did his absolute best for us, but unfortunately could not swing a visa for Zaya. He allowed us 48 hours to put Luckyfish somewhere safe and suggested Texan Bay. The motor along the famous gorge was just amazing, as was the welcome we received at Texan. We highly recommend this spot. We left the boat there and headed to Belize the following day so Zaya could re-enter Guatemala with a visa. It was a blindingly fast taxi ride to Punta Gorda, Belize, using the local Lunchar service. From there we had a scenic flight to Belize City, and the Guatemalan embassy. After a relatively smooth process, Zaya had her visa and we unwound the same route all the way back to the boat at Texan Bay. We spent a relaxing few days at Texan before steaming 12 or so miles upriver to Ram Marina, where we had booked Luckyfish for haul out. So this is the famous bridge that you hear so much about on the Rio Dulce. 20 miles up from the mouth, and most directions are given in relation to this bridge. So we are in Ram Marina, which is on the south side of the river, and we cross around a little less than half a mile across the river, past the bridge to the north side where the township of Fronteras, otherwise known as Rio Dulce, is located. There's a couple of marinas over there. I'm not sure I'm acquainted with all of them yet. There's catamarans, there's Mar Marine, some you can haul out. There's Nunawana, which is near Ram. There's many around here, and they all sound pretty good. I mean, you don't hear many negative reviews from this part of the world. We're very happy at Ram, but it's mainly because, you know, they have a good facility, and also they were able to haul out our boat with a 20-foot beam. It was the only marina here that could do it. So I'm just heading over to Fronteras now. We're going to be looking for some mothballs, some mildewcide, some damp rid, those sorts of things to keep the cabins nice and fresh while we're away. It's a really hot, humid day. Birds are chirping. There's a little island right here. Looks like they've rehabilitated it. It's really quite sweet. But well, yeah, what a fabulous place. There's a guy in a dugout canoe right next to me. He's doing some fishing. It's a blend of cultures, you know. You've got the cruising community, and you've got a whole bunch of Mayan people that are just still living the river life, eking out a living. It's going to be a very hard place to say goodbye to. Well, this is Fronteras, folks. This is the harbour-side view of the township. It's a busy little place, a lot of dinghies and launches going back and forwards. So I'm just about to head into the town and find the local hardware store, the ferreteria, and see if they've got the products that we're chasing. Well, we put the boat up on the hard stand here at Ram, and we expect that the boat might be here for 6 months, possibly a year, while we go and get some work. So we're just running through the normal routine jobs that we do to put the boat to bed, so that when we come back there's less work to do. So the jobs that have been completed so far, we've flushed the outboards with outboard cleaner, keeps the cooling systems from corroding, and applied some anti-corrosion stuff around the engine, and then run the carby with a carb cleaner so the jets don't clog while we're away, and then we've run them dry so there's no fuel left in the bowl, in the carby bowl. Zaya's been through, cleaned all the cabins, done a huge bleaching job. It's all painted surfaces inside the boat, so by leaving a film of chlorine, killing any germs, there's very little for mildew to grow on.
I'm having fun. Not. As you can see here, like a brand new, and then this side are not. You see? All this is a mold. So I'm cleaning it with soap first, then with the bleach. It's really easy because of the surface of Luckyfish. It's quite easy to clean. White paint, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just wiping down with bleach really worth doing it, otherwise you're gonna come back to lots of work, full of mold. Seems like I ended up with this job every year. This is my 3rd year of cleaning mold. I'm an expert now, mold expert.
With our deck shade, we've modified it so that it can offer some sun and rain protection to the tow rails. We're just making sure she's going to be watertight and right while we're away. There's a lot of rain here in Guatemala and a lot of sun, so we're very conscious of the woodwork. Our deck shade's really not enough. It's quite open to the sides. Tow rails aren't protected, so we've got this tarpaulin and size kind of. We just marked it up to try and put some sides on the deck shade and keep the weather off the side of the boat a little more. We're also going to close in the front and close in the back of the boat as well. Let some air through, and we just got a bit of this 3/4 inch conduit, enough for about 10 or so hoops to go over to stop the water ponding on top of the sunbrella. This is our deck shade. But these are modifications to it to protect the boat.
Pipes.
These conduits, yeah. So it's going to be very swish when it's done. At the moment it's just all hands to the pumps. Got about 3 days before we need to go and get a flight back to Mongolia. Not an easy job for this little sewing machine, is it? Not an easy job for us either. We're trying to squeeze all this material through this tiny little machine. We're nearly out of cotton. Ram and their amazing and hard-working manager Karen were kind enough to provide us with a shared unit while we readied the boat. One morning I awoke to this. Alright, so the situation is that we've woken up this morning and there is a scorpion in the sink. He's not small and he's got a very venomous looking tail on him with a spike. You can see how it's bent back at the moment, ready to flick around the other way and inject the venom into you. So, I mean, we've got 2 options. We can kill it. Apparently the other people in this apartment, they found one last night and they killed it. You know, apparently there's a squashed scorpion in one of the bathrooms. But we just had this one crawl out of the sinkhole. I'm not going to kill it, no, I'm going to relocate it.
How?
Well, just pick it up in a towel and...
No.
Yeah, I'm going to pick him...
then he's going to poison.
No, I'm going to put him in the bush where he can go and be a normal scorpion. That's what you need in the morning, this.
We don't need you to be poisoned.
No. Yeah, he's got he could spike you through the tail, but I'll try and just contain him with one very quick action. Now pick him up, try not to disturb him too bad. He should be slowly, I hope, getting rolled into this damn towel. Okay.
You good?
Don't know.
Lift it up?
Yeah, okay. I presume he's in there somehow.
There,
stand out, get out of the way. Alright, so I'll take him to the bush. Yeah, alright, I got rid of him. He was very angry.
Is it?
He was fine. I mean, he just raised his tail right up. His pincers were out like this. He was in the full attack position. What a neat animal. That's the biggest scorpion I've seen. We're in the process of sealing the lashing strakes with some oil, some stained oil, to preserve the timber. Coat of linseed oil on all the handrails and tow rails up on deck, and we've given the paintwork a clean with a deoxidizing agent that protects the paint while it's on there, but then you do need to reapply polish again afterwards to keep that barrier of wax in place. That's what Zaya's working on right at the moment.
Not nice.
Well, I had hoped to interview the owners of this boat. It looks like an aluminium round bilge or semi-round bilge. Probably about a 40-45 foot monohull. But they've got a silicon bottom on it, and I'm starting to hear more about these silicon anti-fouls, and it's really weird to touch. Unfortunately, the owners aren't here right now. I wanted to hear what products they're using, how they prepared the hull, and what their impressions are of the performance of the paint. But if you touch this stuff, it's actually quite tacky. It does feel like you're touching like a table tennis bat, you know, those new silicon face table tennis bats. It's quite grippy. It's obviously a very clean hull. The boat's just been slipped. I'm told that they put the pigment on in the undercoats, and then the top coat is a clear layer of silicon, so whatever colour you choose is determined by the undercoat that you use. But it's quite a weird finish. Yeah, very sticky. You know, I wonder what it scrubs like. I actually wonder what the maintenance would be like. You wouldn't be taking to this with a Scotch-Brite scourer or any sort of metal instrument or even wood. I think that is quite a soft coating. Very interesting product, environmentally friendly we're told, and yeah, something to find out a little bit more about. The boat itself looks quite clean. So there we left Luckyfish, took a bus up to Guatemala City, caught a plane to Florida where dear friend Rick hosted us yet again. Thanks Rick! Before catching flights, kindly discounted by patron and pilot Peter. Thanks Pete! All the way back to end Season 4 in Mongolia. Well everyone, we hope you enjoyed this week's episode, the last in Season 4. Don't miss next week when we'll be introducing our newest crew member. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. As always, a huge thank you to our patrons for helping make these videos possible.